Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Can we talk with Monique? I am Monique. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you so much. So y'all, I'm a little behind with the calls, but I'm going back to that phone call that Dre did that kind of pissed people off. And you know, some people it didn't. But let's talk about that phone call with Dre. He's talking to Ernesto and he's basically talking about some things. Now, guys, I know I'm also going to be talking about scams, flams, and all type of stuff in the scamalations, in the book of scamalations. But this call, okay, this call here is going to be put underneath the context of a scam. And let me tell you why. One of the biggest things, we've been listening to these phone calls from prison. But you know what? This is a scam and a fraud. Because the bottom line is, Dre said it best. You said you never loved Shirley. So it was all a scam, a fraud, and a sham from very beginning. From the very, very beginning. And if these two friends, buds, you know, didn't perpetrate the scam on Shirley, maybe we wouldn't even be listening to these calls today. So stop pointing fingers at everybody. But we're going to go back to this call. I'm going to give my commentary. We'll listen. I'll interrupt a little. This is for fair use for education and commentary purposes. This call comes from a channel called Phone Calls from Prison. And this is the November 16th, 2023 phone call. Let's listen in, shall we?
It makes me... Here's the thing. I've been knowing you a long time. I know you, but now some of the things that I'm hearing, I don't know you. If that's true, and I be like, oh, that's messed up. And I say to myself, I'm just like a fan that's watching this too. If he did that, that's fucked up. And I'll be the first to tell you that's fucked up, and you did it.
Excuse the profanity, but this part of the call, I'm really kind of relating to Dre, because he's like, I'm listening to this stuff. I don't know him to be this way, but you know what I'm saying? Wow, is that my friend? You know, but it's messed up. So let's hear what he have to say before he goes and dig a ditch for himself. Because like I said, we probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the scam and the flam that was in the flam that was perpetrated on Shirley. Let's go.
That's wrong, Ernest. But then some of it, I listen at, and I keep listening, because you know me, I dissect things. I be like, no, you know, kids and stuff like that. He's very respectable with kids and stuff like that, and he got daughters of his own. I don't believe that. He don't have to have no picture, you know, or whatever, allegedly, in his phone. You know what I'm saying? He got a mouthpiece, give a gab, whether they like it or not. He can, if he got...
Yes, sir.
Hey, hold on, chill out. You asked the question, I got it. I mean, just keep it at 100 if I can. This man ain't got the bag for no pussy. Ain't the pay for no pussy. He never have.
Never have.
And he ain't never put no gun to nobody's head that made them say swipe this and do that. Now, if you talk them and, you know, and what, that's different, but forcing somebody to do something, I don't know that side of you.
Exactly.
So that's the part that be throwing me off. Like, huh? You know, no, he don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like it or not, he ain't never had no problem with no woman, period.
Now, and I can understand what he's saying. Nesto has the gift for gab. He don't have to do this. He don't have to do that. He's never had a problem with a woman. But you know what, Dre? Bottom line is, sometimes we think we know people, but we don't necessarily have to know every single thing about them. You know, you've seen a side of him, but maybe there's a side you don't know, and you might have to just admit that self to yourself wholeheartedly that maybe there are some parts of Ernesto I don't know, because you just admitted that some things you hear it makes you a little uncomfortable. You're like, dang, that ain't the dude that I know. You admitted you didn't even know about Sonia. So there's some things you don't know, Dre, about Ernesto. Okay? So let's go back and finish listening to what Dre has to say.
I'm not saying there's no disrespect to Shirley. I'm not trying to put your business out there, but even before Shirley.
Right.
I've been on you 30 years before Shirley. So that's the part that I don't get. I do want to tell that. You ain't got to do all that. And half of y'all saying what y'all wouldn't do, and you ain't going to tolerate this. You don't know what you'll do.
This is true.
You pulled up and that got doggone Phantom and them jeans on and that got doggone blazer, gray cut and eating 5 stars. You don't know what you would have said.
Okay, so Dre is basically saying, a lot of us bloggers and maybe even people listening are saying, well, we wouldn't have done that. And some people, Dre, you must understand, they do have boundaries. They do have a level of decorum about themselves. They wouldn't tolerate certain things. Some people won't. So some people, Ernesto would not be able to pull. There's a certain type of person that he's able to draw in. And then you mentioned something to the fact of, come up in that Phantom, put on them nice jeans with that nice blazer, nice cut. That's all superficial. He might be appealing, visually, right? And be able to, talk to somebody. But then after they got to know him, they may not. So, Dre, I think you're mistaken. In fact, I know you're mistaken. Some people do have good self-esteem, good boundaries, good instinct, and good wisdom and discernment. They wouldn't even deal with somebody like Nesto. No matter how many Phantoms they drove, no matter how many Rolls Royces they drove, no matter how fly they looked, they wouldn't deal with them because they would have that discernment to stay away. I'm just saying. Let's see what else Dre has to say.
This is true.
But they keep dogging Shirley out, talking about this and talking about that, and I don't be liking that either.
Now, Dre, who's dogging Shirley out? We are not. I know I'm not dogging Shirley out. I'm not dogging her out. I'm not dragging her out. I'm disappointed and I'm also sad, but at the same time, I'm grateful because this woman has a career where she'll be able to recover, hopefully financially, from this whole debacle and mess, and hopefully spiritually and mentally. So who's dogging her out? I've never dogged Shirley out. Okay. So I don't know what you're talking about. I think a lot of women listened and we were disappointed, and we were trying to figure out what happened financially as it relates to all of the evictions. Did you know about the evictions, Dre? I mean, really, did you know about all of the evictions? Because I don't think something in my mind tells me that Nesto didn't tell you nothing about all them evictions that they had going on. So nobody was dragging her or talking about her. Actually, we were Team Shirley, but we wanted her to take some accountability for some of stuff that happened because there are signs, there are red flags, and obviously they had some issues in their marriage financially. So she has to take accountability for that. And true, it shows she has some financial issues before Ernesto. So she must be accountable for that and take responsibility for that. But that's not dragging her or talking about her. We want her to do well. Okay? So kill that noise and stop it. What else you talking about, Dre?
Because she fell in love with you.
Absolutely.
So, but, she got to be this, she got to be that, she got to be done, she got to be this and that. That's the part that I don't like. And it's all black people. No white folk. It's all black.
Okay, Dre, let me just stop you right here. It depends on what genre and what algorithm you're in and what topics. Okay? Now, if we're talking about Ernesto Williams from around the way in Atlanta, where there's more black people that understand and know who Shirley Strawberry is, because the demographics that listen to Shirley Strawberry and Steve Harvey are black, then that's who's going to be listening. But if you go on the other side of YouTube streets where they're talking about true crime, you may have some Caucasian, black, white. It depends on what we're talking about. So why is this a black issue? Shirley is a black woman, isn't she? You black, aren't you? And isn't Ernesto black? So these are the people, but white folks don't know nothing about y'all. So they ain't listening to you. Okay? All right. Let's go.
It's all of us. There's no white folks. All of us. Eating this shit up. Female, women.
What?
That's all it is. When you look at the bloggers and you look at their pictures, that's all it is. And I'm going to tell you something else, too, that I've noticed, too. And they probably going to get me for saying this, too. I don't care. And I'm looking at these females that are hosting these shows and hosting these bloggers. I don't know all their names right now. And I'm like, okay. My partner wouldn't even mess with y'all. He wouldn't even mess with y'all on a bad day. Because y'all not his kind.
Okay. So, Dre. And that would probably be true in a sense that some of us wouldn't want to mess with someone like Ernesto on a good, horrible, or any day at all. You know what I mean? It's like you want to throw shade at people because saying that somebody, you know, your buddy of 30 years, and I understand he wouldn't want to mess with nobody. Let me just be very, very, very clear. At the point where some people are, nobody wants to deal with a scammer. Nobody wants to deal with a pathological liar. Nobody wants to deal with someone who is just not on the up and up. So it wouldn't even matter. It would not even matter because do you see the turmoil that his own wife is going through? She now is out here on the YouTube streets, all of her business. And I blame partially you too, Dre. You and your buddy. All right. So no, on his bad day, some of us on our worst day wouldn't want to deal with him either. So it goes both ways. I'm just here to tell you. Nobody don't want that confusion and that chaos in their lives. Who in their right mind would want to deal with somebody like that? But no, you're talking about superficial looks. We ain't his type. Well, I guess Sonia and her 92-pound self is his type. Okay? That don't, if that's his type, I love it. Let him have at it. Okay? Let him have at it.
Wow.
So they sitting at the house. Hey, but you don't want to put your picture up. You keep putting cartoon characters up. What you look like? They chubby.
Right.
They fat.
Okay, they chubby, they fat. Now, Dre, we spoke highly of you because you really did say, you know, that you really, it seemed like you were very concerned about Shirley. Now, I'm one of the content creators who has cartoons. And you know, one of the reasons why I did that, I'm not really good with making the thumbnail thing. And I thought that cartoon characters, bright characters would make people click. There's something called a click-through rate. So that something about cartoons and bright colors make people click. So that's why I did it. But my picture is out here on the YouTube streets. You talk about they chubby, they fat. I'm a little thick. I will say that. But I love myself, okay? And I'm not ashamed of who I am. So maybe it's not, you know, your type or his type, but we weren't looking for you to like us in that type of way. You see what I'm saying? So whereas I do have some cartoon characters, my picture is out here on the internet because this ain't the only YouTube channel that I have, okay? So kill that noise, Dre. Fat, chubby. Well, you think are you so all slim, you know, and trim, looking like Steve Austin, and you know, I mean, really? We not trying to dish you, but it seems like you trying to, you know, throw some little shade. But I got some more words for you.
They think it's not saying there's nothing wrong with that. But they want to criticize you and criticize Shirley and criticize everybody else. But they sit at the goddamn house trying to get some likes and stuff, and you ain't all that either.
Okay, so no, I'm not here to criticize Shirley, you, or him. I've had this journal before thinking even about Ernesto. On my channel, I talk about things for people who have gone through maybe domestic violence situations, people who are on that spectrum of narcissism, which I think your friend is. Okay? He checks off some of them boxes. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And to help people to understand and become aware of how these people deal. And we talk about some other things. I'll be talking about scams. This ain't just about Ernesto, because there's many more Ernestos out there. But it wasn't just to criticize him. This was a story like, wait a minute, what happened? How did Shirley Strawberry end up with a car being repossessed and, sleeping on a mattress, according to Ernesto? So it intrigued us. Some of us are women trying to figure out what happened. But of course, we have our own opinion. And we give our opinions. And that's just the way it is. Don't act like you don't give your opinion on stuff, Dre. Really? What else you talking about? Exactly.
Wow.
Wow.
I'd be like, wow. So that's why I have to calm down. I really do. Now, they trying to do entertainment. They trying to put this out there, and they trying to put it like that. Now, they got some of them. There's one or two of them out there. I do like to listen to that because they keep it mutual. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, well, now, this and girl, he, it's kind of strange now since he's been in there so long. Now, all of a sudden, now charges come out. What happened to the bad checks? Why are they talking about the bad checks no more?
Well, we've been talking about the bad checks. We've been talking about, his friend Erica King, a.k.a. April Holloway, one of the Black Rothschilds. I guess they adopted her. We've been talking about those things, okay? And, you can't just sit back and just say, well, dang, this man has been, he is innocent until proven guilty. However, his past history looks a little shady, and some of the stuff that we've heard on the phone calls, you must admit they are, Dre. Some of the stuff even surprised you. So don't act like, some of this stuff, if you do have a conscience, some of this stuff didn't kind of take you by surprise, okay? But I'm going to say this, Dre, all right? This came out of your mouth, and that's why I'm going to house this phone call under the scams and flams, okay? Because look, I know that that's your friend, but you said it in one of those other phone calls. You ain't never loved her anyway, so your own friend told you that he didn't love her, which was Shirley Strawberry. You knew this before they got married. You knew this, obviously Shirley wasn't his quote-unquote type, right? You knew this. Now, I don't know if you thought they were going to grow to love each other, but obviously you said Shirley grew to love him and fell in love with him. But he obviously didn't love her. He didn't deny it. You said it out of your mouth. That is on tape. So, Dre, it appears to me that this whole marriage was a scam and a flim-flam. And had Shirley possibly had known that her husband, Ernesto, didn't love her from Jump Street, and maybe this was a means of him just leveling up. You know what I'm saying? Finessing her so he could level up. Maybe that's what it was. But you knew this. So you, my dear friend of 30 years, Dre, you are part and parcel to all of the shenanigans that's going on. Because guess what? You stood up at a wedding, okay, and watched a ceremony, okay, take place, knowing daggone well your friend did not care about that woman. So guess what? I call you a fraud and a scam and a flim-flam too, because you stood part and parcel to it. Didn't say a word, went right along with it, and now look where we at. It wasn't built. The foundation wasn't built on truth. It wasn't built on love. It wasn't built on that. So when you have a faulty foundation, what do you think is going to happen? So I consider you, you busy talking about everybody else being thick, fat. No, you are part of the reason why we're here today. Because you co-signed, stood up before God and the preacher to get to witness a marriage that you knew wasn't even based on what it should have been. Okay? So you ain't got no room to talk. All right, Mr. Stay Out of the Woods, Dre. That's all I'm saying. You can't point your finger now at the bloggers. You can't point your finger because people are saying stuff. Because, yes, I consider you part of the problem. Okay? I consider you part of the scam, the sham, and the flim-flam. And this is why we're at the place we are now. We're friends like y'all. We don't need no enemies. I don't care if he was driving up in a daggone whatever. If that is who this person is, rotten like no, we don't want it, because look at where Shirley is at. Almost 70 years old, having to go through this mess? Really? Do you think that was fair? Now, I look at myself and I say, well, if I had a girlfriend that was marrying a dude, okay, and she tells me, I don't really love him, this just a come up, I'm not going to be a part of the wedding, and I'm going to tell her you shouldn't do that. Because you have now made yourself a part of it. You participated in it. And part of this is, I believe it's your fault. Now, people are grown, they're going to do what they want to do, but you participated in it. So that makes you a part and parcel. So now you want to sit back and you want to complain about stuff right now and blame stuff on the bloggers? No. If one of my girlfriends came to me, just like I said, Dre, and said, you know what, girl? I'm going to marry him because I just want the money, but I don't love him. I'm not being, nope. I'm going to tell her, girl, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. And if she invited me to be in the wedding, I would say no. Maybe that's why Daryl kept quiet, didn't attend the wedding, didn't come to the wedding, wasn't in the wedding, because he probably already knew. Maybe Nestor already told him, you know, maybe he's just one of them low-key guys that don't want to be in the scene, but he probably already knew. But no, you, big man, okay, stood before Shirley knowing daggone well he didn't care about her. So what does that make you? What does that make you? You know what it makes you? You part and parcel. You a scam, and a fraud. Because I wouldn't do it. I would tell her, nah, I can't. I would have made up some kind of excuse. Nope, I'm not being a part of your wedding. No, ma'am, I can't do it. Because this person is being bamboozled on the other end. So when all the stuff fall apart, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be held accountable for it. So anyway, Dre, this is my response to you. And I'm listing this under my playlist of, this is the biggest scam, the biggest fraud, because you knew very well that your friend Ernesto did not love Shirley. So this is why we're here today, bloggers on the internet even speaking about it, because I don't know, a good friend is not going to just go along to get along. You're going to tell your friend, yo, don't marry this woman. And if he decided that he wanted to push forward, I wouldn't have come to the wedding, because that means that you were standing right by his side. So no matter what he does, it appears to me, Dre, no matter what Ernesto does, good, bad, or indifferent, you're going to stand by him. So go ahead on. That's why you on the calls today. So y'all, stay out of the woods, Dre. Anyway, y'all, like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell. Let me know how you feel. Do you feel that Dre has a little bit of responsibility with this as it relates to Shirley, that he shouldn't be talking about nothing now since he already knew that this whole marriage was a scam? Let me know in the comments. All right, y'all, like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell, and I will see you on the next video. And I'm not playing this all the way through. I just want to hit it right there, since, you know, Dre was whining and crying about, you know, people and saying stuff that really is not true. All right, y'all, peace, and I'm out.